Okay, hi. Hello, hello, hello. My name's Avery, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, I've been sober since January 15th of 97. And wow, I have not spoken. I don't think I've spoken in 8 years, 10 years, something like that. Yeah. Lisa called me, and I'm like, okay, all right. I'll come out of the hermit will come out of her hole. And kind of, I do have a very active, very, very full life. And, speaking, when I was laughing because when I first got sober, it's like, call on me, call on me, call on me. And now I'm like, okay, I'll speak, which I don't mind. I just get, self-conscious. And this is not like my gig to get up and like entertain the masses. I'm a one-on-one person. I'm not a small talk person. And I think that kind of leads into where, my focus on how I wanted to kind of frame my, what happened, what it was like, what happened, what like now, right? I love connecting. I love connecting with people. I love getting to know people. I love just, who are you? That's my gig. That's my jam. Like, let's go to lunch. I want to know who you are, and when I was, growing up, I was an alcoholic. I popped out into an alcoholic family. I had the perfect training to be a non-emotional, I was a very deeply emotional child, but we don't do feelings, we drink. We drink, we eat, we have sex. That's what we do. That's just what we do. We don't feel this stuff. We just kind of act out everywhere, and I was a quick study. Let's put it out. I'm like, all right, this is what we do. We don't feel shit. So, and in that, I was just, that's just kind of it. But what was happening is that like the inside of me was just jumbled and dark and lonely. Like the loneliness of living in an alcoholic family for me was profound. It's like when I went back and I look and it will bring tears to my eyes how lost and lonely I was. But I looked around and I should be happy. Why should I be happy? Because my parents were extraordinarily wealthy, and we had planes and houses all over and, all this other stuff, but I was so lonely. And the one person that I connected with in my family was, I grew up on the border in El Paso, and we had a housekeeper. We had two, but we had a housekeeper, my grandparents' housekeeper, because they were in Coronado, California 9 months out of the year. And their huge house on the cliff was just empty. But they had a housekeeper that lived there full time. And her name was Maria. And Maria loved me. Maria cooked for me. When I was sick, my mother, she had, God bless her heart, she had paranoid schizophrenia. She had me when she was 21 years old. My mother was beautiful. My dad was rich, And that's what it was. He's like, well, you got to have the prettiest one at the bank parties. I'm like, oh, my God, she's crazy. But anyway. That don't matter. So, it's all about looking good. It's all about like we have these things, we have the trappings. You should be happy. You should be grateful. Why aren't you grateful? You're a selfish child. You're just not grateful for everything we provide for you. Well, they provided a wonderful education for me. I'll give you that. Well, when I went, high school, I bought my diploma, okay? I was like, can I just write you a check? I was drunk by the time I was 13 years old. But anyway, that being said, Maria loved me. And I got that from her, and I got that safety. And my mother, for the first 3 years of my life, she gave me enough to where I could actually connect with other people. She didn't give my sister that. She rejected my sister. It's very sad. So it's all about connections. I got basic pieces of what I needed to be a successful human being once I got sober. So, okay, so that trick. Okay, so what's the story? Find alcohol, life lights up. Okay, I'm off to the races. I'll do anything and everything to get a drink. Don't care about you. Don't care about what I step on. I didn't give a shit. I was going to drink. I was going to party. I don't care about you, okay? I didn't care about school. I didn't care about anybody. Like, I think I was likable, and people wanted to hang with me, and I was like, I liked you, but I couldn't really connect with you, I can look back, and I swear to God, if my mother hadn't held me, I'd be a psychopath. I'm not kidding. Because it was just like, I was so selfish. And so it was in my disease, plus I was a teenager. I mean, I was a mess, okay? So, and walking over to Mexico at the time, this is like before Narcos, okay? You could just walk over, and then you could just walk back, and it was a great time. Okay. That being said, I was in and out of psychiatric institutions, in and out of treatment. During I don't really remember high school. I literally bought my diploma from like an accredited person who could give it to me. I don't graduate, but things changed somewhat when I got sober. So, then I moved to Dallas because there was nothing left for me in El Paso. I'd burned those bridges. I knew I was going to die if I just stayed there. There was nothing for me. And so I ended up in Dallas, okay? Drinking continued, whatever. And I was just doing the same old stuff. And I remember I was sitting, and my last drink was at Addison Point on January 14th. I remember looking at my disease had progressed so bad that I was a binge drinker, and those periods were coming closer, and, all the delusion of, I'm not an alcoholic, yes I am, whatever. Inside, I was dead. I was in college. I had a good credit score. I was, working. I was supporting myself, but I was just dead inside. And I just remember looking at this drink, and I could just remember it. And I was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to be an alcoholic. It was like I was always like trying not to go over that cliff. I mean, I knew I was an alcoholic, but I was going to give into it. I was just going to just forget it. Like, there is no hope for me, right? And I had tried to get whatever. And I remember that night, I was up on Beltline where you get on the tollway. And I just remember saying, fuck it, I don't care if I live on the street to drink. I don't care, whatever. Alcohol is it. That's it. I did not care about myself. It's like I went over that emotional cliff and just said, if it takes me, it takes me. I don't care. I don't care anymore. And so I was getting on the tollway, and there was a car in front of me with some guy I was following. Let's be real. So it's like some old dude that he's like, welcome home with me. I'm like, oh, sure, fuck it, whatever, So I'm like following this guy. And, because let's be real, that's just what the lifestyle is. I'm so glad I'm out of it. It's like, I know where I am every day when I wake up. Yes. And I know who I'm next to. Yes. So anyway, I'm following this guy, and he kept putting his hazard lights on. And I'm like, what are you doing? I was drunk. I was like, what are you doing? To myself, there's no one else in there. And I was like, why is he putting his hazard lights on? Why is he putting his hazard lights on? And he would do it intermittently. And I was like, what's the danger here? There's danger here. There's danger here. There's danger here. And when I was making that loop to go 635 going east, on that loop, I was like, there's danger here. I'm in danger. And I mean, this is coming out of nowhere. I mean, I had done this a billion times. I didn't care about myself. I didn't have the capacity to love myself. I didn't have the tools to love myself, to keep myself safe. I didn't care. So when I was making that turn around the loop, I was like, I'm in danger. I'm in danger. Oh my God. And without any reservation in my body, with no reservation in my body. It's the only time this has happened in my whole life. I said, God, I screamed out, God, please help me. I can still remember where I was on that turn 25 years ago. I said, God, please help me. Just screaming, And I ended up, and I remember I get to the exit, to the Preston exit. My sister lived off Preston. And I was like, get off that exit. Don't follow him. Get off that exit. And I ended up at my sister's house. And she took me to Albertsons on there was one of Albertsons on Arapahoe in Coy, or like Arapahoe, Preston or whatever. And we're making spaghetti. Because that's what I wanted. I wanted some carbs, It's like, I'm drunk. So anyway, she's like fixing me spaghetti at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up at like 7:30. And the only thought in my head, and for me to know, like, and I'll tell you the significance of this whole experience, because it was one of the anchor moments of my life. When I look back and I go, God, is this too hard? I go, yeah, but I had that incident. And I can't deny it. I can't deny the power of God. I can't deny it. I saw it. I felt it. It's like I was raised by a paranoid schizophrenic mother who used to tell me Jesus sat on her lap. I don't want to hear about your fucking God. I don't want to hear about anything like that. That terrified me. It terrified me because you're crazy. People who believed in God were crazy. People who were rich were fine. Okay? That was my division. If you had money, we're good. If you're a Jesus love it, I don't feel this way today. But if you're, and I'm not saying I'm Christian, I'm just saying like whatever your God is, Mazel tov, great, awesome. Like I don't care. I'm glad you have it. I have no judgment on that. But it terrified me at that time in my life because I didn't know which way to go. I had no compass. So anyway, I woke up and the raging thought in my head, and anyone who knows me is like, I don't take advice very quickly. Like I'm on my way over here, like, re-listening this book on how to identify a psychopath. I don't, it's like all the traits of psychopath. I'm a therapist, so I love this stuff. So I'm just like, okay, so this is, and then I already kind of know because I kind of come in contact with them every once in a while because I run a treatment center. Not every alcoholic's a psychopath, but you can pick them out. But like, anyway, so I'm just like doing all this research on, whatever. So I love that stuff. So anyway, so I don't take in it, but the only thought in my head was, if you don't go to AA, you don't have another chance. You are going to die. You will die. It had to be so dramatic, and I know I'm being real dramatic, but it had to be like, the biggest 2x4 that God could give me to say, do you want to live or do you want to die? That's it. That was my choice. That was the fork in the road. That was it. So I once I got my bearings, I grabbed my sister and I'm like, I need a phone book. I need a phone book. I need a phone book right now. And she's like, why? And I was like, I need a phone book. I need to find an AA meeting. And I went to the one on Georgetown that night. It was a Thursday night. It was a speaker meeting with some used car salesman. I never forgot that. And I looked around and I was like, and before I had always judged the people. I'd been in and out of AA since I was 13, whatever. And I just said, okay, I knew that I had to find my people. I need to find my tribe. I need to find where I was comfortable. And I had the willingness to do that. And so the next night I went to Addison, and that's where I found my people. That's where I got sober. And I went to Addison for 13 years, and I was there. My life consisted of getting up, going to work, calling my sponsor at 5, going to the 6:15, going to the 8 o'clock, going out afterwards, and that's what I did for 5 years. I did that every single day for 5 years. That's all I did for 5 years, and it was enough. And I felt loved, and I felt accepted. People knew my name. The most powerful moment is when Nancy W., who's probably got 40 years or whatever, she came up to me my second day and says, hey, Avery, how are you? And I was like, someone knew my name. That is so powerful. These little things were so powerful for me. It's like, I just want to remember your name. Hey, how you doing? Glad to see you again. I don't know if you're going to come or go, but I know your name. And I didn't feel known. I was so lost. And getting sober, I was like the angry one in the meeting. I didn't find the God of my understanding until I was 5 years sober. I was an angry person. And people could tell. There was something about me, I think, that was likable, but I was all over the place. My nickname was the walking interruption. I just didn't. It's like, if I felt it, I said it, and I did this and I did that. But the one thing I was honest. I was always honest. The problem is I didn't have much filter and I didn't have much containment. Okay, because my honesty could be very cruel. And I think that is one of the refining things of Alcoholics Anonymous and the steps, is that it taught me is it kind, loving, and necessary? Is it my business? So what if I have a judgment? I don't care. That's about me, And I had to own me, and I had to own my mistakes and go through my reactions and how I did all these things. And so getting sober for me, the process of taking away the alcohol and growing up, was hands down the most painful process I've ever been through. Now, I didn't want to drink, but I didn't necessarily always want to be here either. Okay, I was passively suicidal for 7 years in sobriety. That was just my experience. The first, we were in this culture of like, well, you're just not grateful. You're just not grateful. Just hit your knees. And I'm like, what I learned then is like, I needed medication. I needed mood stabilizer. I needed psychiatric care along with getting sober. It says in the big book, please make use of what they have to offer. I don't claim, I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a doctor, but I know alcohol. I know addiction like the back of my hand. I know that if someone needs different resources than 12 steps, which are the life-saving basic foundation of my life, and everything in that big book is true. And if I need a bigger depth of knowledge, and when I watch people and I say, you need a bigger depth of knowledge than what I have to offer, even as a very tenured therapist, I go see this person, please. Try it out. Go do this. Go do that. Speak to a priest. Speak to a rabbi. Enlarge your network. Get a mental health team on your side. Get these deep connections. Get these people who know you. Avail yourself of who you are, because that's the most beautiful thing you can be is you. Whatever that looks like. It doesn't matter what your diagnosis is. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter. Just stand in you and watch it unfold, right? Now, I know this now after 25 years and having to watch it unfold many times. Even yesterday, I had to, my sponsor had to sit on her hands while we both had to sit on our hands and determine a course of action that didn't lead to me making something happen. It was let it unfold, see what happens. But I want to do, I want to, let it happen. Let's see what happens. And letting it happen is coming up with the most beautiful result, that I would have gotten in there and messed with it. So anyway, I got sober, and I was a mess, but I stayed sober. I was sitting in a meeting one day, and it was around April of '99, because that's when he got sober, and so I was sitting up against a wall in Addison. I don't know if y'all have been there, but I don't know what they do now, but I was sitting on the non-smoking side, because at that time I was not smoking. So anyway, and I see this man just sitting there, and he's he doesn't smoke, but he's around all the smokers, just this man. And I look to this guy named Paul, and I'm like, see that one? And he goes, yeah. And I go, that one's mine, right? And I was like, that's mine. He's mine. Now, we hung around, whatever. We didn't get together for 6 months, right? But we got together, and we were together for, I'm so bad with this stuff. We were together 13 years, 11 years, something like that. I ended up marrying him. Okay. So we ended up getting married, and he was also in the program, very active in the program, and, we just kind of did life together, and we moved out to this area and everything like that. And then he was very active in service, and a lot of people knew him back in the day. And so he went in, we had just had my first child was premature. He came out, he just decided to pop out at 28 weeks, okay? And so thank God I had excellent medical care. He's fine. He just turned 13. He's at home with I just got him one of those, virtual reality things. And I'm just like, oh God, put a time limit on that shit. And I told him yesterday, my brother lives with me, and I told him yesterday, I'm like, one rule, no porn. No porn on it. No porn, right? And my uncle's like, yeah, no. He goes, don't use porn on that. I'm like, don't use porn at all. What are you talking about? I'm like, listen, I cannot prevent that. I can't prevent it, but if I can at least tell him, listen, from 11 to 15, if you can stay away from porn, it is going to, that's when your sexual template is developing. It's that's not real. You need to learn how to touch people and be with people and connect with people. You start getting off on that, it's that's all you're going to be able to get off to, and that's sad. That's sad. I see it all the time. I digress. Anyway, so I'm like, people's where it's at. So anyway, so he's probably out doing that, and then I have an 11-year-old. He just turned 13 this month, and it's, oh God, what wonderful human beings I have that I gave birth to. So anyway, Michael, he went in for an appendicitis surgery, and he didn't come out. He had a heart attack on the table, and so I have a 13-month at home. I'm pregnant with my second, and he's gone. He's gone. I didn't work. I was in graduate school because someone had told me, hey, you ought to be a therapist. I'm like, I don't like people that much. But I had 3 people in 1 week tell me I should be a therapist. I'm like, hey, all right, I'll go to school, whatever. And I ended up, I mean, it's like, you know, for someone who bought their degree, I got 2 degrees and I graduated with high honors with both. And then I applied to 1 graduate school and I got in and I got my thing and I did it. And thank God, or else I wouldn't be able to make the living I make today. Thank God. It's like God has always just told me, just why not? You know, I mean, a lot of my decisions back in the day was like, okay, sure, I got nothing else to do. I mean, I just stayed home and did whatever. So, and he was, you know, he had his own company and he provided for us and we were going to have like 4 kids and, you know, whatever. But anyway, so he dies. But here's the power of the connection. The power of the connection is that I called his business partner who's in the program and I said, Michael died. And he goes, oh shit, well, you know, we're coming. And 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, I have a dear friend sitting in this room, 3 o'clock in the morning, come around the corner, and she was there. I get to my home, and it's full of people from AA. It is full of people from AA. The power of those connections and showing up. All I did in these rooms was show up and tell the truth to the best of my ability, sometimes with a filter, most times not. But I showed up, and I was rigorously honest, and I just, you know, I said what I thought. And I remember standing outside the hospital that day and I thought, you know what? I am not going to hide what I'm feeling. I am going to walk through whatever I have to walk through sober, because if not, my kids will lose both their parents. And I can't, that's not an option for me today. This isn't my play. This world is not my sandbox. I don't make the rules on how things are going to go. I can't predict how things are going to go. And I woke up that next day and the program kicked in like this. It kicked in like this. I didn't want to go to sleep that night because I thought, well, if I wake up, it's all real. It's all real. My life was shattered. Just everything that I knew was done. And I had to start over, all over again, on every level. And I was very dependent on him. You know, like emotionally, I mean, I had my dependencies and he was the big guy and I was like, whatever. So I had to grow up, like, you know, like really mature in that. And so anyway, I woke up and I said, okay. I kind of did like like with the program. It's like when I got in the program, they said, just get up, brush your teeth and go make your bed. You know, do you have enough for cigarettes? Yeah. Do you have enough for gas? Yeah. Do you have food? Yeah. Do you have shelter? Yeah. Okay, great. Get to a meeting. That's it. And if you need a ride, we'll come get you. Life is really that simple. It's like when they talk about it simply, it's that simple. Just show up. And so I thought, okay, the only things I'm going to do, and to call it a successful day, is obviously not drink. I'm not going to drink. I'm going to take a shower, feed my child, and go one place every day. That's it. That's all I did. If I did that, that was a successful day. And that was as basic as it was. And I had like so many angels. I had so many people who came in. I was not, of course, I was a mess, and you know, and there was things that I'm still repairing. I'm still repairing my relationship with my younger son because I was not available emotionally to the depth that I needed to be when he was born. And there was a man in this program who came to live with me, and he's a dear friend, and if it wasn't for him, I don't know that my son would be who he is, because he deeply connected with him. He was with him every day, and my younger son got what he needed from that man that I was not able to give. So how God works, I don't know, but I did the best I could, and that was the result. And I have a beautiful younger son, and that I've just in the past couple of years, we're finally connected to the depth that I need to be connected with him. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect mother. You know, it's like this fallacy that kids are popped out and we're instantly connected is bullshit, because I don't know you and you don't know me. Okay? It's like, you know, I mean, and I came from, you know, with stuff, but I stayed sober, and I did the best I could. And it was a mess, and I rebuilt my life. And, I got remarried, again, and I did it out of fear. Because I thought, I can't be a mom to 2 boys, so I'll marry him. That didn't work. Now we're friends. He's remarried. All great. No problem. You know, but what did I have to do in terms of like, steps. I have to continue to own my behavior. I have to continue to own my reality versus your reality, and who are you and who am I, and give it over to God all the time. Like step one, and one thing I'll say, losing my husband, I mean, you can imagine losing my husband and losing my life and my lifestyle, everything changed. That was devastating. Getting sober was harder. That was more of a painful emotional process for me than losing, because at least I had tools. I had tools to deal with that. I had a foundation. I had a relationship with God, even though I was pissed at God. I was pissed because I was like, really? How am I supposed to do this? And I would stand in my garage and I'd talk to people from AM, I can't do it. They're like, yeah, but you're doing it right now. And I'm like, no, but I can't do it. Yeah, but you're doing it right now, but I can't do it. Whatever. So anyway, and I'm happy to say they're just like these amazing children. And so, I don't get it. I go to virtual meetings and and I do all that. And I don't, it's like I don't share very often. I don't get out and tell my story very often. I don't, that's not where I feel like I was always like the person who, like, what can I do? Can I help you set up the chairs or clean the ashtrays? That's service. That's service back in the day when we used to beat Addison cleaning the ashtrays or whatever. And, can I get the pamphlets? Can I do literature? Can I do this or whatever? I like being behind the scenes. I like being that person who's just kind of like, I've kind of come to own myself over the years and just say, like, this is what I like. I like a quiet life. I like deep connections. I like friends I talk to every day. And I mean, the cohort that I got sober with, they're still sober. So many of them are still sober and around, and, and it's wonderful. But I think just kind of where do I want to go with this? As long as I'm alive, I'm always have something to look at. I always have something to grow towards, and something that is going to need attention, because without this foundation, my life is a mess. My life is a mess. It's just, it has no direction. It's like AA, it's like instilled in me a sense of direction and a sense of, what's right and what's wrong. I didn't get that. I didn't get that memo at all. Like, everybody in my life before this drank. I mean, I've had mom, dad, grandparents, aunts all die of alcoholism. My sister, I think, is right now. She also has paranoid schizophrenia, but she's also addicted to meth, and she's living in some trailer. And I don't know I don't know how to help her, because I don't want to go to her place because it's too scary. Like, I don't know what in her judgment she's going to do or not do. And so I just love her from there, and I try to get an Uber to a doctor. But, that being said, it's like, all I can do is ask God for the next right thing. And there are still days, and I don't know, it's like being sober. People find out how long I've been sober. They're like, oh, you got no problems. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, I mean, being sober just means I get to do this sober. I mean, it's like, it's just scary. I don't really like it. No, I mean, I say that, but, it's not that I'm devoid of any problems. It's like, in fact, now it's like, it's more important for me to stay sober today, because I could easily, like, I think it was like in the past 6 months, I got into this relationship, and it was like these thoughts of drinking and saying, like, well, what if it's, and when I went back to is this, like, do you remember how horrible it felt that first day? 25 years is a long time, and it can be easy to say, yeah, but it'll be different this time. It's easier today to say it'll be different this time than a week in, right? It's easier. It would just be, if that thought came in and I believed it, I'm a fucking goner. I'm a goner. Like, I can't predict, and the way I qualify my alcoholism is I cannot predict when I start drinking how much I'm going to drink. That's the qualifier for me. I can sit here and say, oh, I could just have one, and maybe that would, but I mean, why test it? Who cares? You know, who cares? I don't care anymore. It doesn't, you know, I think there's so many, you know, like I remember, I mean, I got drunk off Zima. That's how long I've been sober. I mean, it's just like, nasty, you know? And I mean, and today I don't have to worry about, you know, watering my lawn naked. You know, I don't have to, I'm not kidding. No, like, you know, or I don't have to worry about like, you know, why does my car smell like Whataburger? You know, it's like because of one onion, you know, it's like that stuff is brutal. You know, I don't have to live, and it was just like, it was, all I can say was like living in alcoholism was like emotionally filthy. It was just emotionally filthy. It's just like the shame and the guilt and the what did I do and I don't remember and my emotional reactions, and it was a mess. I was a mess, you know, and you know, being restored to sanity is, for me today, is that I know that drinking is not the answer. It's like I know that. And for someone who is powerless over drinking, for me to know that and believe it, for someone who doesn't want to hear what you have to say, for the most part, unless I know you, it's like, okay, well, you can have your opinion. That's cool. You can have it. But it's like, I don't take people's opinions in very easily. I always say, like, I'm not a wounded bird. I'm a wounded badger. And so I just, you know, I'm like, hold up, you know? You know, but at my core, and I don't, you know, and to be honest with you, I joke about that. I don't have to live defended today. I don't have to live with a chip on my shoulder today. I, you know, can just absolutely adore you from where you are, you know, and because I don't have that self-hatred in me. I accept me. So what's wrong with me accepting you? There's nothing wrong with it. You know, I mean, I said, you know, I think I can share this here, but I had like one of my, like the love of my life is this woman named Martha. And she also she's not in the program, but she's on the codependent side, and she's a therapist too, and she works with addiction, and her partner recently died, and she's got a 16-year-old that she had with her, and I am deeply in love with Martha. The problem is I'm not lesbian. And I told her, I said, if there was reparative therapy for me, I would be your wife. There's nothing I can do to make myself not attracted to men, which is the bane of my existence. I'm not kidding. I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? No, I'm just saying that. No, you know. But I'm just like, yeah, I go, listen, I would love to have a deeply emotional, loving connection with someone who doesn't drag their knuckles. I'm drawn. I'm drawn to the knuckle draggers of this world. And there's nothing I can do about that. Like, 100%. So, you know, but I can... I don't really like when I work with women. I love working with women. I love working with these, like, the crazier the better. I mean, I love them, and they have a place in my heart, because there is nothing like seeing the light turned on. Nothing. There's like nothing when they get that switch and they get that and they find themselves. Man, but that is something that I didn't care about before. I didn't care about you. I didn't have the capacity. I cared about me. I cared about getting what made me feel good. But to know that I actually am deep down a very loving, caring, open human being, and I never thought that because I hated myself so much. And I didn't want to be part of this human race because I didn't think I belonged. I didn't think I deserved to be here. And all this self-hatred that I had, those steps cleared that out. Those steps were a beginning for me to clear that out. And to own my humanity, and to own that God loved me no matter what, and I love God no matter what. And, you know, there's a saying in Al-Anon, it's like, we may not like you, but we love you in a very special way. I love a lot of people in a very special way, the same way they already love me, you know? And so that's one way I keep principles about personalities. I'm like, okay, you know, because today I don't have to engage in that. I don't have to focus on that. I can just focus on, you know, what makes you shine, what makes you beautiful, what makes you whatever. And I love, like, I'm always on the hunt for people who can connect deeply and do life and be messy and be okay and, you know, mess up and stand up. I love people like that. I love people who get knocked on their ass and get back up. You know, I just love that because no one of us here is perfect. The only thing I did, and they told me, the only way to become an old timer is don't drink and don't die. That's the only reason I'm here, is that I didn't die and I didn't drink. It's nothing to do with me. It has to do with the fact that I told the truth to the best of my ability. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I was honest. I can't tolerate not being honest. I can't tolerate it in my bones. I just can't. It just makes me sick, physically sick, to not be honest and to not be truthful at some point. Now, I'll hedge. Don't get me wrong. I'll hide out for 2-3 months, and I might not tell my therapist everything until she's like, what the fuck is going on with you? And I'm fine. I just did this, whatever. It's like I find I can't hold it for too long because I get all squirrely, and I'm like this, and they're like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing, I'm not. Don't ever play poker with me because you will take all my money. It's like I don't have very many tells. But the gift that God gave me and the gift that Alcoholics Anonymous gave me is I don't have to drink over my shame. I don't have to drink over who I think I am. I don't have to drink over who you think I am. I don't have to drink. That has been lifted from me. That is the miracle. I didn't do that. I said, God, please help me. And he literally took the desire to drink from me. That is a miracle. I can't explain that. That is not something I decided. I asked for it and I was open to receive it. Now, did I scrap along the way? Absolutely. But I also grew along the way, and I have everything to lose today. I have everything to lose today. Most importantly, but when I say everything, I mean my mental health. Take my car, take my house, take anything material away from. That's not, I'm not going to like it, but that's not what's going to bring me down. If I lose my ability to connect with you and to connect with God and to clean house and to tell the truth, I'm a goner. That's it. That's what matters to me, And that's really kind of all I had to say. I mean, it gave me my whole life. It gave me everything inside that I can survive this world with the power of the program and the power of my friends and the power of love. Really, it's like what is love? Love for me is acceptance. Love is letting you be you and me taking care of me. And we can coexist even if I don't care if I don't agree. I don't even think like that anymore. It's like, I don't give a shit. Like, just be you, And if you're not a dick, I'll probably be your friend, And I'll close on that because you have a birthday. So.